The Morning Dump from Hurrdat Sports with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning.
Welcome back. The only place for extra thought, extra conversation that we can't get to on coffee and cream. He's Damon Benning. I'm Andrew Rogers, and this is Morning Dump. DB just sent me over the schedule for this weekend's high school games, and what a great slate that is for the Heartland tournament.
Yeah, it's they're pretty good every year, right? And it depends on what you like. So obviously, late you get Huntington Prep and Sunrise Christian, Bishop Walsh and Bellevue West. That'll be the 8:15 tilt, or the 6:15, and Real Salt Lake Academy and Westside are at 4:30. Of course, your boy, because I'm a huge Central City fan, I will be there at 9:40 watching Freeman versus Central City.
An all-day affair.
And I want to watch Platteview and Grand Island. Now, I don't know if Platteview will have Connor Milliken, but they hope to have Connor Milliken back, so that'll be interesting as well.
Yep, so looks like I will not be at the Omaha hockey game on Saturday night.
Yeah, aren't you doing the PA?
MC.
Okay, MC.
Yep, so I'll MC Friday, and then it's an all-day affair of high school basketball on Saturday.
Team GI.
Right, these are Saturday, not Friday?
Correct. There's two Friday night games, and then there will be all-day Saturday.
There it is.
Speaking, your buddy, your partner in crime, just ask him, I'm doing the broadcast for Friday. I'm like, okay.
Is that Sauter?
Yes.
You really struck a nerve on Friday when you called him out. I didn't say anything to get him riled up.
I just know, we only have 14 minutes, and he'll spend 4 of the minutes with pauses. And I think he thinks we know what he's going to say, so it finishes his thought, but he hasn't said anything. So I just...
Fair point.
No, I mean, he'll be cool with it. I tell him all the time.
There was something that you tweeted out on, was it Friday? I was trying to follow along this weekend as much as I could. And it was in regards to an official that was, is refereeing a term? I'm going to call it a term if it's not. Refereeing boxing.
With the 8 counts.
Yep. And dude went down.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say he went down, I mean he went out like a light.
Yeah, I was watching that real time, so it just made me. And then this whole thread got started.
Right. And, I saw the – and I didn't read anything. Mm-hmm. All I saw was it said, Damon Benning commented. Mm-hmm. And so I watched the video before I even read any comments because, I wanted to craft my own opinion before I saw somebody else's. And, I don't watch a lot of boxing. I watch enough to know what's going on. I don't watch a lot of UFC, but I watch enough to know what's going on. And I didn't think – that the ref was that outrageous into waiting to start his count at a certain time to make sure that he was fully in on the fight. The way I looked at it was, and I saw the ticker in the corner, and that's what people were basing it off of. Once he got to the point to where the ref could really look at his eyes, look at his body language, that's when he really started his count. And then it got, up to 7 or to 8, and then he's like, all right, you're good to continue.
Which was really what was it, 25?
20-something
seconds of real lifetime.
Right. It made me think about the safety of the sport. And
that wasn't my point.
No, this is before you.
No, I knew it was going to, yeah.
But this is before you.
That's what my whole thread turned into.
And that's what I found out. But when I looked at it, I first looked at it from the ref's point of view of okay, he's just making sure that he's good to go. And he's going to give – he may be generous with his time, but he's going to give enough time so that it's not like this dude's going to step back in, take a punch, and possibly get put into a coma. So that's when it led me to think about he's looking out for the athlete. Mm-hmm. He's making sure the athlete's good, that the athlete's safe. But in the same light – when I started reading the comments, I saw one that kind of made sense to me. Well, is it a good idea to make sure, give him extra time to, collect himself and then it actually hinders him in the long run? So Out of everything that you read based on we'll start with your initial tweet and then the direction it went.
So initially, this is what I thought. And now you're talking to like what I would call an avid boxing fan. Boxing is one of my favorites. I do it as much as I can in my free time. I love boxing, and I've loved boxing since I was a kid. Like young. I'm talking ABC, Wide World of Sports. I love boxing. And I've never looked at a longer count as putting a fighter in danger. I looked at a longer count as making sure he's good if the fight's going to continue. So that was always my prism. So until I started reading the comments, I didn't think of it any other way.
We kind of thought about it as safety, because you're making sure he's good.
Yeah, because sometimes I've seen so many boxers come back and survive a standing 8 count.
Right.
So it's like I don't even think about that part.
You don't think about the time.
No.
You think about the safety. That's what you're saying.
And so a lot of the comments, though, in the section were, fudge, man, if you don't get it in 10, you're not going to get it in 12. Or if you don't get it in 8, you're not going to get it in 10. And I don't think there's anything further from the truth. Because not only was this the example that I showed, the boxer that got the standing 8, he came back to win. I saw Buster Douglas, who got an inordinate amount of time. I think Buster Douglas got 23 seconds of real time. And I know Rory Horn and Mike Tyson's corner was going crazy. Real time, post-fight, Don King was mad. As you know, Buster Douglas came back to win that fight. So I don't... Razor Ruddock. There's just guys that have survived these. Tyson Fury. Who at the 8-second mark did an Undertaker and popped up. So you never know, is the boxer buying time or is he really hurt and needs all the time? So the safety thing is always at the forefront. Now whether a guy, if he's done it X amount of time, that means he's going to be done later on. That part I don't subscribe to. I think one of my guys, RK, at Uncommon Sense, he spends a lot of time with the Nevada Commission and understands the fight game really, really well. And his point wasn't either one of those things. It was, when it's over, it's over. Period. Whether you think it's an advantage and a safety advantage, let's just keep it basic. And when it's over with the count. So have some consistency there, which is a third factor. We were arguing safety, inability to come back. I'm thinking, I never even thought about the inability to come back. I just want to make sure that you're not exposing a guy. Right? I saw Ray Mercer pummel Tommy Morrison. That fight should have been stopped. It wasn't. He should have got a count. He wouldn't have survived the count. There's all sorts of things that go through my mind with as much boxing as I've watched. And when at Uncommon Sense, it was the Twitter account, said, listen, man, 10, we're good. Keep it moving. That's just a simple letter of the law tweet. Hey, at the end of the day, safety, not safe, whatever. How about just
count to 10?
Right. How about just counting to 10?
Right.
Right? Which is when a clock hits 0. Is it 0 and the time before it takes to get off of 0 for a delay game, or is it when it hits 0? Right? How about just have it be applicable?
How about in soccer, though? You get a little extra time.
No, I get it. Oh, I totally get it. So I think for me, I didn't think about a couple of other things, but I could and I said this, I could be convinced either way. If you want to make it about safety, fine. If you want to, I didn't have a strong opinion. I just thought it was interesting that people were upset about the spitting out of the mouthpiece and the extra time given.
Yeah, I did notice that, yeah.
Boxers have been accidentally losing their mouthpiece or spitting their mouthpiece out for 60 years. That's not a new thing.
Take a breather.
Right? The funny thing was they never even washed the mouthpiece off or anything. They just scooped it off the canvas, Put it right
What
back
did your
in
mom
his
say
mouth.
growing up, DB? 5-second rule.
My mom didn't believe in that. She was
Like the 10-second rule? Did she give you an extra time? Or
It was throw it away.
Oh. That's because you were the baby.
Yeah, probably.
Although normally you would start like with the oldest, like, let's get a new piece of chicken.
Yeah, that's
and then
Vicky.
by the time
Yeah.
it came to me, it was like, let's just put it back on your plate.
Well, we didn't have a lot of extras, so it was tough sledding.
Yeah, you didn't drop your food on the ground for
I'm
extra
surprised
time.
you went down that rabbit hole either, because you're not a fight game guy typically, are you?
No, but I enjoy. You know what? It's weird because for me, I have like the things that I love, and then I have the things that I really like get attached to. Like not that I really like, but if I am interested in it in that moment, like when your brain just says like, "Hey, I'm going to watch a comedy." Like I want to watch a movie, I'm watching a comedy. Maybe action and adventure is my favorite, but I'm going to watch a comedy tonight. That's kind of how I looked at, like when I was scrolling Twitter, I saw boxing. I'm like, I kind of want to watch some boxing now. And so I started like watching a little bit of that, and then I started watching, and then I got down, because this is where I started. Friday. This all happened Friday, right? When you tweeted that?
Yeah.
Friday it started with Smack Talk when I asked Amon Green about Smack Talk. And then I'm like, I wonder who the biggest like smack talkers are in all of sports. And then do you know who the number one smack talker is in all of sports?
Draymond Green.
No, he's a fighter.
Is he still fighting or is he retired?
Oh, no, retired.
Floyd Mayweather.
Nope, even better. Best one out there.
Fighter?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh,
Best one.
Mayweather's in that discussion.
Number one.
And he's not fighting anymore. Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew you'd get there.
Yeah.
The number one trash talker on the majority of people's lists was him. And so I'm like, I think I'm going to watch some highlights.
You just went down the rabbit hole.
And then when I saw, because this, like, it was my birthday weekend and I was kind of all over the place. But I didn't really start until like 6 or 7 o'clock because I told you, too, I was watching the skills competition. Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit about that, too. But I started with watching some of those highlights, and then I saw your clip, and I'm like, well, boxing's on the mind, so I'm just going to keep watching.
So I got into boxing because of my dad. My dad was a big,
I think you told me that.
My dad was a big Muhammad Ali guy. So, but growing up, I didn't like Muhammad Ali. I didn't. Who
was your guy?
So my favorites, like in no particular order.
Creed?
I like Bernard Hopkins. I like Oscar De La Hoya. I like Sweet Pea, Pernell Whitaker. I said Lou Whitaker, Shane. I like Floyd Mayweather, and I like Evander Holyfield.
Uh-huh.
Now the guy
half an ear?
Pardon?
Half an ear, or
yeah,
hole in the field.
Holyfield. Now,
you know what?
Growing up though, in that heyday, so probably 6 on that list, and probably 5A is Sugar Ray Leonard. Like those are my guys. That's like the big 6.
I would say Floyd's probably my fave, only because when I really started to get into fighting, it was when he fought McGregor.
So yeah, wow, that's weird.
Recent,
because I didn't want him to do that. I was like, don't soil your legacy.
Yeah, he kicked his butt.
Right, but. So growing up, I was looking for guys that were close to me. So Michael Nunn is from Davenport, Iowa, right there from the Quad Cities.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Nunn came up in a time where there were so many great guys in his weight class. And remember we talked about Dingmans and my Mazda 626?
Yep, when it got stolen.
So I had a little bit of money. I had the signing bonus from Carolina, and so I got personal plates.
You were that guy.
Once. No, actually I did it twice. I did it back-to-back vehicles.
Can I guess what it said?
For the Mazda?
Yeah.
Well, you got to think Michael Nunn, but go ahead.
Oh, then I don't know.
So it said second to none.
Okay.
And it was just a little Mazda Silver. It wasn't even a sweet car, right? But because I liked Michael Nunn, because he was close, he was just from right down the way, and he was really, really good, on the Mazda, I got second to none. Short story long, I fast forward. I got an Acura TL. And it was my favorite car that I've ever had. I loved the body style. because I used to be a sedan guy. You got to go older. So go like, oh, that's the body type. So go like, it was 02.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that was.
Yes.
So my Acura said, no, it's 04. Because
3.2 2-liter engine.
It went from the sedan style to more of the sporty look. My Acura said TLSEE, like TLC. I know. I dread even telling you because, but I've been, shallow and insecure. Like I tell you about some periods in my life, anything from 03 to 12.
Ask me about it.
Was probably not always the greatest.
Can we do a segment called Ask
Except
Me
for my
Anything?
kids being born. But I mean, I was all over the place.
I know. I want to do a segment called Ask Me Anything. With
I was
you.
all over the place. So,
what color was this?
Black. It was
TL?
Pearl black.
I'm looking at it right now, as a matter of fact.
Oh, you buying it?
No.
You need a new car.
I do need a new car, but not this one.
It was unbelievable. I got it from the Honda place right on Dodge.
Uh-huh.
About 70. It's right next to
So it
Men's
was the
Warehouse.
Nighthawk Black Pearl.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what it
That
was.
sounds like a car from a movie.
Yeah, and it was
The Nighthawk Black Pearl.
Was it from Creed? You want to ring the bell?
No, it's from Pirates of the Caribbean.
So, there's just so many things that this is terrible, but it's the morning dump and it's full disclosure, right? So there used to be this place called Seven Monkeys right up the street from my house, 156th and Maple. So I'm struggling. I think I want to be married, but I don't really want to be married. It's just hard. And so I go out to Seven Monkeys because they had great food, great chef. And actually one of the guys that follows the show, Saty, Saaty, he worked there.
Okay.
And that's when I met him. And we're friends to this day. He was just eating here last Saturday night. I, again, got to be good with the kitchen and the staff because I would go there off hours. Because if there was a lot of people there, I didn't go. So they would let me in, like, off hours. I was back there hanging out with the staff. So I got to be late one night, and we were having a couple of drinks, and I really liked tequila.
You do?
Turns out I had 17 or 18 tequilas. Literally.
You're insane.
Oh, totally.
You're an animal.
So I only lived down the street. I lived on 153rd and Curtis. Curtis is one block north of Fort. So you just go 156th and Maple, 156th and Fort, 156th and Curtis. Didn't feel particularly great. Didn't think much of it. I was at home. Got up the next morning. There's vomit all over my passenger door on the outside. So I must have got home, got out of my car, walked around, and wanted to vomit before I went inside. Yeah, it was all over the passengers. It was my Acura TL.
Oh.
Yeah,
Man.
I'll never forget that.
TLC.
I mean, not one of my. You don't like that?
Dude, it's my favorite. That is something that would probably, if you asked them to put it on a car nowadays, they wouldn't let you do it.
And I would always explain. I was
maybe
like,
they
oh,
would, because now it's becoming socially acceptable.
See my TL. And do you want full disclosure, the play on words, because it was TLC? Because it wasn't Tender Loving Care, it was the group. Do you know who was my favorite? Knowing my taste and my personality, who was my favorite in TLC?
I don't know. Watkins.
Tiandra? No. Rosanda Thomas.
Chili.
She was the C in TLC. She was my favorite. Brown skin, dark hair. Fits
your aesthetic.
So she was my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like TLC. Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
you're
an interesting cat, DB.
Listen, my mind is nuts.
It is.
Full disclosure. It just is. Yeah, TLC. See my TL. I saw the the car.
Jeez.
I saw the car salesman that sold me the car. I see him in basketball gyms sometimes on the weekends.
No way.
Yeah, we'll just call him Mike.
Hey. Car Mike.
He was great. He was like, "Hey, I remember I sold you that TL."
And you're like, oh, don't remind me.
It's arguably the favorite car I've ever.
I
My
love
most
it.
favorite car.
I've only ever had Escapes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So are you a Ford guy by nature?
Family owns a Ford dealership, so family support family.
So why I got a Mazda? Because I was a Stan Olsen Nissan guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And my dad drove a version of a Maxima for like
A
18
version.
years.
Does
So
that mean it's like the Walmart version?
he would just get, whenever it was done, he would get like the next step.
Got it.
So
Okay.
he's had Maximas my whole life. To this day, do you know what my mom drives? A Nissan Altima.
Same thing.
Do you know where she got? It's the smaller version of the Maxima. Do you know where she got it? Stan Olsen
Stands.
dealership.
Stands.
And it wasn't Stan Olsen dealership then. He had sold it to his son Jim and his
Right.
daughter. But yeah, we only dealt with one auto vendor. So
Yep. Ford dealership through the family. They also have a Jeep and Buick.
I don't. So is that Oldsmobile?
Buick?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe.
It's Tiger Woods, right, Shane?
Like
And
Buick-
people were like, Tiger doesn't drive a Buick.
I used to have a Buick.
Can you see
and an
Tiger like
Oldsmobile.
rolling in the Skylark? Although, wasn't his accident in a?
Was it in a Buick?
I think it was in like the little sport utility.
And that wasn't a Skylark.
No, I know that's the sedan version, but wasn't his deal in like the little sport
Like an
utility?
Enclave or something?
Something like that. Wasn't it a little sport utility Buick? I know it was. And I was like, wait a minute, he
That doesn't
does
look-
drive Buicks.
That doesn't look like a Buick.
Dude, I'm telling you, I think it was a Buick. Am I nuts, Shane? Please tell me I'm not crazy.
I don't think you're crazy. I think it was a loaner
Is it
car.
an Audi?
It was a loaner
No,
car.
it was a rental, and I'm telling you.
It was a Genesis.
Who makes Genesis?
So
Are
it's
you
a-
sure?
Yeah, because look, here's the car, and it has the sticker on the side. You can
Well,
see the Genesis sticker, and like it matches.
Who makes the Genesis, Shane?
It matches that Genesis.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because it's a car.
He said, yeah.
Or
Yeah.
it's an event.
He's like doing his homework. What do we got here? Who makes
Genesis.
who makes the Genesis? That's all I want to know.
Yeah, same. I'm digging it up. All right.
Well, help me out here.
What if it's like its own entity? What if Genesis is like a car dealership, like Bentley? Oh, it's manufactured by Hyundai.
Hyundai.
It's
The Hyundai
Hyundai.
Genesis?
Yeah.
That's actually the car that came after my car.
Well, at least this car looks like this.
Hyundai.
No, it went Hyundai Tiburon, then the Hyundai Genesis. It's the car.
This
that-
car won the lottery opposed to yours.
Wow, why are you clowning my guy?
Yeah.
Because he's getting a new car, so it doesn't matter.
Well, he can't find one in his price range.
I've got something cooking.
Oh,
The
you
one
got
that you
something
showed
up your
me?
sleeve?
No, I don't know. That's probably too much. I'm gonna do something else.
Hey, so this may
Unless
be.
somebody else has got something out there for me.
Well, they might. They got to know what you look for.
I've been looking for a fun car, a play car, a Jeep Wrangler. I would love to get an older Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah, one of the twins, Rizak, has a Jeep.
I'm assuming it's like a newer one, not an old
No,
one.
it's
an
not.
old one.
No, it's not. I mean, it's nice.
Like it's not. Is it a 90s?
It's in the 2000s.
2000s. Okay.
And it's in the 2000 teens. One has a Cherokee, the other has a Wrangler.
Wranglers are expensive.
They are.
Cherokees aren't as expensive.
Although I had Shane, how many Cherokees did I have? 3? I had 3 in a row.
You went through a few of them.
I had 3 in a row. Cherokees.
And it always seemed like there was a recall on it.
Yep.
On each one.
One with my last straw was the parking mechanism.
And not trying to downplay Jeep because I was looking at Jeeps, but just like those seem to be had some issues those years.
That
you
stretch,
had.
yeah.
That stretch.
The Cherokee. I had a nice black one.
So if you're out there, just do your diligence, do your research, and
Do your diligence. Shane is great.
I leave that to my family members, Shaner.
Shaner?
They tell me what cars to get.
Yeah, you and me both.
Put a lot of trust in them. Do you put a lot of trust in us? If so, you better keep listening to the show. This is Morning Dump. You can catch Morning Dump wherever you get your podcasts. That's Apple. That's Spotify.
Just Google it.
You probably could find it on YouTube as well. He's Damon Benning,
great
at
channel.
Damon Benning on Twitter. I'm at Andrew Rogers TV. Shane Schillerberg on the board, doing great work today. Well, no, you are.
Sure
That's why I said you were doing great work today.
Yeah.
And you can follow Coffee and Cream as well. Yep, you're welcome. And that's wherever you get your podcast too, Apple, Spotify, and that's at HVarsity Radio on Twitter. Shall we sign off?
We should sign off.
See you tomorrow.